if Vladimir Putin escalates the conflict in Ukraine, Western forces will not escalate to the point where they would put their home countries at risk. They will keep the conflict in Ukraine.
Well, of course, but Ukraine's not a NATO country. So all we'll do is send stuff to help, but we're not going to be putting troops there. We're not going to be flying planes over there.
What they were saying is that if Putin uses nukes in Ukraine, the West will not fire nukes on Russia in return.
Fire nukes on Russia in return? I don't believe so. But wasn't Biden's initial claim that we'd be destroying like their fleet in the Black Sea or something if they were doing something?
Well, we took out their flagship.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I wouldn't look to a UN or an EU politician to speak on behalf of the U.S. military or what the U.S. is willing to do, because at the end of the day, that's really all that matters, right?
I agree with your principle that countries shouldn't be invading and colonizing territory, but then I look at what the U.S. did the last 20 years in Iraq.
We haven't done anything even remotely similar. We didn't take any territory.
They're not on our border. We have a puppet state in Iraq. We have corporations set up in Libya like Osprey.
Iraq holds their own elections. Iraq is its own country. We didn't take any territory from them. We didn't declare any of this, like this is now part of the United States. It's a totally different scenario from what's happening in Ukraine and Russia.
We removed the Ba'ath Party from power, which caused ISIS to appear, but I mean, you could say it's legit, but it's a puppet state.
I'm not saying it's legit, but I don't think we can call it a puppet state. I don't think it's fair. They hold their own elections. They are their own country. We might not like it. We did remove Saddam Hussein. We did ban the Ba'ath Party from reforming. That is true. But we didn't we didn't come in and say, like, we're going to carve off this part as like New Connecticut.
Right.
It's part of the United States now. That's an insane thing to do. Yeah. That's an insane thing to do. We haven't done that. Russia went into Ukraine and they took territory. This is Russia now. That hasn't happened in so long. It's an unprecedented action in this age, post-91, post-Soviet Union. That's insane.
Yeah, I think of it as like after the Soviet Union broke up, the oligarchs split it all up and they took away the warm water port from Russia because they didn't want to be a global hegemon. They were like, no, we're going to give Sevastopol to Ukraine now. Russia's landlocked and they can have their other. And it'd be like in the U.S. if they took the West Coast and took a long strip down the West Coast of the U.S. and gave it to Canada and we had no Pacific access. That at some point the U.S. would be like, this is insane, and we're going to invade and take Pacific access. And that's where I see the Russians coming from.
Well, how? They recognize the border. That's the country. You might not like it, but
it's just de facto. Like
it's not de facto. It'd be like, what if Canada was like, we really want Alaska? This is bullshit. It's not even connected to the U.S. We're going to take this. You can't do that. That's the border.
Try.
They could try.
De facto, if we didn't have West Coast access.
I wish they'd fucking try.
The Canadians.
I would just love to just win a war against Canada.
And it would give us pretext to seize Canada. We would end up taking Canada and annexing it into the United States.
No more land acknowledgements.
The way we did with Libya, the way we invaded, overthrew Gaddafi, took
we did that, but we did that with authorization through fucking through NATO and even through the UN. I'm pretty sure Gaddafi was so bad. I think even China would like abstain from voting no on that one. But again, I'm just saying that here's what I'm trying to say. There's something very unique in particular. I'm not saying that like because I know a bunch of people throwing out probably saying, oh, he wants Iraq and Afghanistan, blah, blah. I'm not saying those invasions were good. I'm not saying our occupation was good, but I'm saying there's something fundamentally different from invading a country and taking territory and saying, this land is mine now. Even in Iraq, even in Afghanistan, where we were for 7,000 years, we didn't actually say, this is U.S. territory now. Right? There were people there. They ran. They did their elections. They did their things. Eventually, we left. But like, it's not U.S. territory. Whereas that has happened with Crimea and Ukraine.
We almost took Mexico. I was watching this documentary on the Mexican-American War, and then Americans were actually in favor of just taking it, and we won. But then the president at the time, I can't remember who it was, Polk or something. He was like, nah, Mexico can stay Mexico.
The tactic the liberal economic order has been using is
we took Texas and stuff.
It's corporate colonization. California. They took out Gaddafi, set up the U.S. dollar, and all these American corporations like Sidney Blumenthal's Osprey Global Solutions. Hillary made sure that he got his defense contract in Libya. So they say, oh no, we're not taking that land, but it is profiting us massively.